Hi, my name is Hannah Copes, and this is my retail research project over will Generation Y prefer to shop online or in-store for clothing versus electronics. Some background information for this study is that Generation Y is a group of individuals that is born between the 1980s and the 1990s. This generation is comprised of mostly baby boomers and is actually recognized as being known as a generation that is being more and more is adapting to the technology of the newer generations. As the progress and retail becomes in the retail industry is growing, we're also seeing a growth in online buying purchases. With this, we're seeing assumptions that this online buying presence is going to affect brick and mortar stores with foot traffic. For this study, the purpose is to investigate online purchase behavior between retail clothing and electronics of Generation Y consumers. Some key terms that we've focused on is going to be Generation Y, buying behavior, online, and electronic purchases. The methodology that I have comprised is from a online quadratics survey. This survey has actually been live for 3 weeks. It is an online survey developed to determine, again, the purpose of the study, which is determine if consumers prefer to shop online or in brick and mortar locations for electronics or clothing. Some example questions that we used for this survey is the Likert scale, the new prompter score, entry questions, and multiple choice questions were all pulled and adapted, reshaped from Foreman and Lloyd, Kinley, Josiah, and Lockett. Individuals from Generation Y were recruited using a social media platform. This social media platform that I chose was Facebook, mainly because Facebook is geared towards the older generations, and I also had my post up for recruitment for 3 weeks. Over the 3-week period, we had a total of 40 different entries. Of these 40 entries, only 30 were viable to use for the study. From this study, in the research in the literature that we pulled, is that we formed 3 hypotheses. The first hypothesis was that consumers would rather shop online for both clothing and electronics. This meaning that we are coming to the conclusion that they would rather this Generation Y, it has adapted enough to feel comfortable to shop online for both clothing and electronics and would do away with this brick and mortar store. Question 21 from my survey is in a net prompter scale and asks actually how likely the individual is to shop online for clothing. On a 0 to 10 scale, about 37.50% voted for 10 and 16.67% voted for 7. This shows that they are actually wanting to shop online. Question 20 is in a net prompter score question, and you can see this question, the results from this question right below. It is in the chart A1, and it is titled Shopping Online Percentages. This asked how likely the individual is to shop online for electronics. This is asked on a scale of 1 to 10, depending on the individual and their online shopping behavior. This question showed that only 16.67% chose a solid 10, whereas 20.83% chose an 8 and 12.50% chose a 7. This meaning that the answers were strong. They did feel more comfortable shopping online, but not 100%, but they were more than the 50% range. The second hypothesis was that consumers would rather shop in-store for clothing rather than online. Question 19 from the survey is a multiple choice question that only gave the option of yes or no. So for this multiple choice, the total was 15 points were no and 9 voted yes. a net prompter scale was actually next, and that was question 24 on how likely the individual is to shop in store for clothing. On a 0 to 10 scale, 29% voted 10, and 21% voted 8, and 0% voted 0. So for this hypothesis, again, consumers would rather shop in store for clothing rather than online. We're seeing results that don't necessarily favor this hypothesis. Hypothesis 3 states that Generation Y prefers to shop for electronics online. A multiple choice answer was presented in the survey, and the consumer asked where the consumer preferred to purchase items. The options for this question were online, in-store, or both. The results of this question were even for online and both, meaning that people preferred online, but also preferred to have the option of going in-store as well. And that score actually was a 9. And the in-store option was 6, meaning we don't necessarily just want the only option to have to go in-store. This question was provided on a 1 to 10 scale. Then question 23 is another net prompter scale, and it asks how likely the individual is to shop in-store for electronics. The results of this net prompter scale showed that 12.50% was recorded, individuals recorded for, they scored a 2. They also selected 9 and 10, so all 3 of these answers were at a 12.50%. So we're seeing a little bit of the lower answers come up higher in the percentages, meaning that the individual isn't wanting to shop in store for electronics. And 20.83% chose 7, which is there again over that 5 to 50% range of wanting to shop in store. Findings and conclusions for this study. The findings revealed that Generation Y actually preferred to shop online for clothing and electronics. These results are actually very similar to Farag, Schwein, Just, and Faber, 2007, who found that there is a positive relationship between Generation Y and online shopping. Therefore, Generation Y, though not growing up in their electronically ran world, they started out in a basis of not being electronically savvy and had to adapt as the newer generations came along. But now they are seeing that this online presence is very strong, and they are wanting to go out and shop online and be more convenient with their purchases. And that is all. Thank you so much.